She said she was lucky to be taken in. Shalom Sarah learned early that lucky could feel a lot like being invisible. In her first life, she existed in the spaces between people, never quite seen, never quite chosen. The house was warm, the table always full, yet nothing in it ever belonged to her. Not the laughter, not the love, not even the silence. That belonged to Vicky. Vicky, with her soft smiles and perfect timing. Vicky, who cried at the right moments and laughed at the right jokes. Vicky, who turned every room into something brighter just by walking into it. Gisalone didn't resent her at first. She tried to love her. But love, she learned, is hard to give when you're starving for it yourself. Why can't you be more like your sister? That sentence followed her like a shadow. At dinner, at school, in the quiet moments when she thought she might finally be alone. More like Vicky. Kinder, softer, easier to love. So Shalom tried. She smiled when she didn't feel like smiling. Helped when no one asked. Apologized even when she wasn't wrong. She shaped herself into something smaller, something quieter, something that wouldn't take up too much space. But no matter how carefully she molded herself, she was always wrong. Too cold, too distant, too much, or never enough. By the time Vicky's wedding came, Salone had already learned her place. She stood at the edge of the celebration, dressed in something chosen for her, not by her. The lights were golden, laughter spilling through the hall like music. Everyone looked beautiful. Everyone looked happy. Everyone looked at Vicky. No one looked at her. Not when she slipped outside. Not when the cool air hit her lungs and the noise faded into something distant and hollow. Not when she sat alone beneath a sky that didn't care. She waited for someone to notice, for someone to call her name, for someone to come looking. No one did. The night stretched on, and the silence grew heavier. Her chest ached, not from cold, but from something deeper, something final. I was here, she whispered, though there was no one to hear it. Her fingers curled into her dress. I tried. The last thing she felt wasn't anger. It was emptiness. And then, nothing. When Cholone opened her eyes again, the world was quieter. She sat up slowly, breath catching as memory rushed back like a tide. The wedding, the cold, the silence, the end. Her hands trembled as she looked around. Her room, not the version she remembered from years later, but earlier, smaller, untouched by the weight she used to carry. A second chance. The realization didn't come with relief. It came with clarity. She wasn't going to do it again. Not the waiting, not the begging, not the shrinking herself into something they might finally accept. This time, she chose herself. The house hadn't changed. Voices echoed from downstairs, familiar tones, familiar patterns, Vicky laughing, their mother responding warmly. Jay alone stood at the top of the stairs, listening. Once, that sound would have pulled her in, made her hopeful, made her try. Now it felt distant, like a story she'd already finished reading. She turned away. Packing didn't take long. There wasn't much that truly belonged to her anyway. A few clothes, a notebook, a pen. She paused for a moment, glancing around the room that had never really been hers. No hesitation, no second thoughts, just a quiet kind of certainty. When she stepped into the hallway, the laughter downstairs faltered. "Just alone?" her mother's voice called. "What are you doing with that bag?" Footsteps followed. Fast, concerned, too late. "I'm leaving," Just alone said simply. Silence. Then, "What do you mean leaving?" her father demanded, appearing behind her mother. Stop being dramatic. Vicky stood further back, confusion softening her features. Did something happen? Jessalone looked at them, really looked. For the first time, she wasn't searching their faces for approval, for warmth, for anything. She saw them clearly and felt nothing. No, she said. Nothing happened. Her mother stepped closer, reaching out. Then why would you? Jessalone moved back. That small motion said everything. I'm done waiting for something that isn't here. Her father scoffed. You're being ridiculous. Where would you even go? Somewhere I'm not an afterthought. The words landed heavier than she expected. Her mother's expression shifted. Shock, then something close to guilt. Jessalone, we never... You did, she said, not unkindly. You just never noticed. Vicky took a step forward. If this is about me, I didn't. It's not about you, Jessalone interrupted gently. And for once it was true. This wasn't about competing, or comparing, or trying to win a place she was never given. This was about walking away. Her father's voice hardened. If you walk out that door, don't expect to come back. A familiar threat. Once it would have terrified her. Now it felt like freedom. Okay. She turned, hand on the door. Wait. Her mother's voice broke. Salome paused, not because she was unsure, but because she wanted to remember this moment clearly. Please, her mother said softer now. We can fix this. Jessalone closed her eyes briefly. In another life, she would have believed that. She would have stayed, tried harder, hoped longer, but she already knew how that story ended. You had years, she said quietly. I'm not giving you mine again. The door opened, sunlight spilled in, bright, unapologetic. For the first time, it felt like it was meant for her. Behind her, voices rose. Her name, called again and again, not ignored this time, not forgotten, but finally heard. Jessalone stepped outside anyway, because being heard too late still counts as too late. And this time, she wasn't looking back.